Hello guys, today we are going to be talking about drawing and why some of your drawings don't read. And I have a note here why your drawings look wrong, and this is something that happens for beginners, but also not just beginners, also some professional artists. Also, it can happen to you. It's not just about the way you draw. Also, it can influence the idea you think about when drawing. Some professional artists don't even enjoy what they paint. So first things first, early focus on details. If you focus on details too quick, you get that issue. So I have some examples here for you guys. Most people think when we say drawing, this is drawing, something like this, but in my opinion, this is not drawing. If you look at some of the John Singer Sargent sketches with charcoal, those were more or less like painting with charcoal. If you have read about his process after going over the outline and drawing, they say he could get like a soft I've forgotten the name. It's like a soft cloth, and then he start raising and pressing things down. The same with this is I painted this. I won't even call it a drawing. It's like a painting. I started here with a sketch, and then I painted with a few similar colors and added white. So this is more like a painting, but most people believe this to be a drawing, and that's why the way they make their art, they focus on this kind of details too quick, and then it come out really wrong. So one of the problems you have is thinking this is how your drawings should be, and this is how your thinking should be. Number two, thinking in lines, not edges. One thing you must understand is there are no lines in drawing. I remember when I started, something Proco always says there is no silhouette in humans. There are edges. He always say there is no silhouette, but when you realize, you understand it's edges. The same way you look at this sketch, and then it produced this, and you ask yourself, from this, why will this produce this? It's because I was not thinking about edges. I was not thinking about lines in that way. The line is a tool. The same thing, the painting becomes a tool. We are trying to capture, an edge. We are not trying to use line to limit ourselves. If we are pushing it with line, definitely we can do that, but you still think of it as an edge. Two forms differentiate each other, so we are using lines to capture one of the forms. So take note of that. It's very important. Edges. If let's say we are trying to capture this character here, and then I come in with my pen and I do this. Just quickly I do this. So we ask ourselves, is this a bad drawing? for how it's looking? The simple answer is no. So, but most people think, oh, everything needs to be defined. Remember, the first thing I said was focusing on details too early, and the second thing is lines, thinking in terms of lines rather than edges, soft edges, hard edges. So when we use line, or no matter what we use, still the same thing still applies. So think of it as edges, not lines, to really help you in what you do. So you see the way I'm attacking the drawing, and the same thing applies. The way you see me pushing this now, I can reduce my opacity and come back on the same drawing, to push things. I can remember what I always say in this, when we draw, never aim for likeness. We can get likeness through measurement. So I can come back in and start pushing things, start getting the exact expression I want to create. So this is something, if you are a beginner, if you have not been thinking about it this way also, you need to do that. Start thinking of it in that way. Think of it as edges, so you can definitely come over. But because when you see this, you might think, this is a very good drawing, but you are limiting your thinking. Most of these things, most of the time I delete the time lapse. I've posted the time lapse on TikTok. It's not the social media platform I use. If you check, you will see it. But you might think this is a sketch, but this is a painting. Like I said, if we zoom in, all these points you see is me coming over and painting the forms. I started with a sketch the same way, not focusing on likeness, not thinking about lines. If you look at it, you might think, it was some detailed line work. No, it was thinking about edges. So always think about edges to help you. So you see what we are doing here. The same way I can start pushing forms, and this way I can push it this way till I get everything I need. So number 2, think of edges. Don't think of lines. Lines are just tools. The same way you paint with lines, the same way we sketch. This too is a good sketch. When I was painting this, I did not think of I did not use lines, so I was thinking of the same edges, and this was the final result of the drawing, of the painting. So don't limit yourself to thinking lines. So I'm drawing with a pen or a brush, so it's lines. No, it's edges. This can be, you see what we are doing here. We can come in here, make that act as shadow and stuff like that. So always think in terms of that. So let's go back to our notes. Number 3, neglecting shapes. and this is another reason people drawing look wrong. They don't think of shapes. All these things we did here is shapes. Everything is influenced by shape. Look at the sketch. Let's look at the sketch I posted earlier. Look at this sketch. It didn't capture detail, it captured shape, what I call placeholders. We know this to be the head shape, and you need to think of this very well because it helps. You are drawing this character. The first thing I was looking at was the shape of the head, the shape of his hat, shape of the goggles on top, the shape of the planes, the shape of the hand touching the ground, the shape, the tilt of the waist. And you need to think of these things as you draw. Shape. One thing I realized when I started painting, because when I started drawing, what we were told was definitely think of 3D sphere rather than circle. But once I started, I realized you need to go from 2D to 3D. Even though you're thinking of 3D, always think in 2D first. Shape and then 3 dimension. So think of it that way. It really helps you in what you do. So shapes first, and then we start to add details. This, you can say, cylinders. We can adjust things later. I adjusted the hands when I was painting these shapes. So once we get the shapes down, we can hit this. So shapes, then 3D, circle then sphere, square then cube. Think of it that way. It really helps. Rectangle to cylinders, stuff like that. So neglecting shape, don't neglect shape. Always think about it. You might think, oh no, it ought to be 3D. We're not saying 3D is not important, but we're still making the drawing on a flat surface on a 2D platform. So think of it when you draw. Then lack of patience. That is the last thing I wrote down here. Lack of patience. If someone did this, you might not think it will result in this if you are not patient enough. Same way with this. If I had done this and you realize I'm painting this, you might not be patient enough. If you don't have patience, you might not be willing to wait. So another thing is patience. From this to this, and we can continue pushing, because painting, you see, is requires patience. It's building. So except you want to be a camera, we are not camera, so we're not the camera. You know what I'm talking about, camera. So we are humans, so process. It's not AI, so it's process. We have to be pushing. That is what some people lack. Some beginners, even some masters. Let's still call them masters, because you might know how to do it in a particular way, and then you start becoming a slave to a particular process rather than calm down and learn and enjoying what you are doing. So this is another thing that affects, that make your drawing come out wrong. You don't have patience. Some people are not even willing to enjoy the process. Like what I always say, I say the process is for us, the artists, the painters. That is what we can enjoy. The finished work, we can't enjoy anything from that. This work is done. The only thing it gives me is to see problems, places I need to work on. But apart from that, it's for the audience. Never forget that. What we enjoy is bringing it from this to this. That is where the enjoyment is. This is where the enjoyment is. The process. Me taking the art, and enjoying it. This is the enjoyment here. You see the shapes I'm talking about when I told you, think of shapes. I'm patient. Feel that folds. Don't be carried away by, Sergeant. Sergeant went through his own process too. Find your own process. You look at Sergeant's sketches and think, oh, this is how it ought to be done. He didn't do those things in 30 minutes. You see some of his, large paintings, and what do you notice? You notice, they say it took hours. His watercolor took hours, So don't limit yourself by thinking you just sit for 30 minutes and produce a fine detailed work. This stuff I showed you also took me, I think, 2 days, because I painted for like 30 minutes the first time, and then I left the work and then go work on some other things. 30 minutes, another 30 minutes, so take me like an hour plus, I think. So be patient with yourself. You see the way I'm working, then I start measuring also. This is the way I draw. I think of the head to the hands. The plane is on this point. Feel those hands. Push down. Feel the thumb. That is not his thumb, it's his finger. Feel the way the push. See the way that plane is on perspective. And if I make any mistake, you see me, like now I'm noticing I've pushed mine a little bit further, and you see I'll erase them. But if you are in a hurry, you want to see that fine details too fast, you won't be willing to cut things down. Check if the hands is getting bigger. We make all these mistakes, even professionals. I've listened to Glenn Vilpul, Steve Houston, Aaron Blaze, and Aaron Blaze will say, erase, erase, erase. Don't think being a master is being free of this stuff. I told you, John Singer Sargent, after making those first drafts, after going painting those charcoal portraits you saw, he make his mark, and then he comes back with a cloth, soft clothes. I've seen Glenn Vilpul do it too, and then he start taking things out. Start taking it out to create those fears, the same way you saw this. What I did here was, after a while you see me come here, and then I take something from this point, and then I start working on the painting. So always think about that. Think about the long term. Enjoy. This is what you get to enjoy as an artist. So enjoy this part and stop overthinking those things. Keep them in mind. Don't focus on details too early. Think in lines. Don't think in lines. Think in edges. don't neglect shapes are important, and patience. Have patience, calm down, enjoy the process. If you're a beginner, learn to enjoy the process. Stop looking at duration. Oh, how long did it take this artist to do this, or how long did it take that artist to do that? Just focus on your work and it will come out. If you focus on making it better, it will come out better. Let time be. I hope you learned something from this one. If you have any question, drop it in the comment box and I'll give you a reply. If you love the video, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. I post videos every day with we have sections like this. So I hope you learned something from this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.